I'm Geoff Nemnich.
And I'm Rick Paillet.
And we're the hosts of The Last Stand. Coyote hunting is my passion.
And coyote calls are my livelihood.
And together we aim to bring you the best predator hunting tips, tricks, and tactics, right down to The Last Stand.
The Last Stand, presented by Lucky Duck Predator Calls. We are the masters of deception. Swagger bipods. Shoot with confidence, shoot with swagger. OnX Hunt. Know where you stand. Hornady. Accurate, deadly, dependable.
So we're back down in Kansas, Rick's home turf. It's the second week of February. This time of year, the coyotes are full breeding mode. The females are already coming into heat. And, we're hoping to key on some of the great coyote-based sounds you're going to find on all the Lucky Duck calls. We're going to put them to use and hopefully get some mean, aggressive responses by groups of coyotes. What you have to understand when you're hunting late season coyotes is coyotes have been hunted now for 3-4 months in a lot of places. A lot of the coyotes have been shot off. There's not near the coyote population that there was back in October, so that's a challenge in itself. And then, a majority of the coyotes that are still running around out there have been pressured in some way, whether they've been chased, whether they've been shot at, whether they've been called in. So calling does get tough late in the season. And over the years, there's really no answer that I've found to combat those late season pressured coyotes other than going to coyote-based sounds. And when I started using the Lucky Duck calls and some of Rick's sounds, a handful of years ago, I really saw, how beneficial it was to have, 40, 50, 60 coyote sounds on your call, whether it's pup distresses, coyote fights, breeding sounds, vocals, whatever it is. The more of those sounds you have available on your call, the better off you're going to be, the more options you're going to have to throw at those coyotes during this time of year.
Got a spot after all the deer seasons are over that's big, wide open, big knob, and it's a mowed prairie hay field. I decided I was going to run some vocals and do some howling and play some fights, and that's what we did. And woo! 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 Woo!
Keep going. Keep it going.
Well, I played Smoke Howl 1. I played Psyche Howlin' 2. And then I played Cry Baby Cryin' 1. And that thing was coming tearing over the hill. I did turn on a pup fight that he had to be coming, and I didn't know he was, but I think he was going to come all the way to the call, but I think he picked me out up here. I was moving around. I thought he would go downwind, which is that way, and he didn't, so we're on the board. We're on the board.
That'd have been some good footage, Johnny, come up out of the bottom.
No, he came straight west.
Really?
Rolled down right through this bottom, started barking at him, and man, it spooked him, or he seen me sitting here plain as day, and he just tore out and was headed straight north, and I rolled him up somehow. I know that's hard to believe, but but we're on the board. We got one down. I didn't miss and have to do the pouty walk back to the truck. We got the roughneck here, and we got the king critter. I don't like the decoy going nonstop constantly. We have this auxiliary jack into the roughneck. You just get a cable. I'm not sure what they call that cable, but hardware stores got them. You plug it into the auxiliary port on the decoy. All the Lucky Duck decoys got them. And then you can, instead of letting the thing run 24/7, you run it off the remote here on the auxiliary button. And voila.
So we get into a stand I've made with Rick probably half a dozen times over the years. It's always been good, probably at least a 50% stand when I've made it with him. Just a big draw. It's the middle part of the morning. So Rick lets out a female invitation house on the call and then switches into some female whimpers. And it's just a few minutes in, and I've noticed the first coyote 250 yards just left of the tree line.
What are they doing? Sitting?
There we go.
Go back to the rabbit.
There we go.
Still
Hold them
coming.
tight here. Let them make their move. I'm gonna kill that back one. Those coyotes were getting a little jumpy. We had them here and then they kind of spooked out. So when I had to take the shot, I knew we weren't probably gonna get a shot at that second coyote. But I like to take the guarantee if we can get it, not get greedy and try to get them both. Especially just watching their behavior right off the bat. They were real cautious the way it was. So we're on the first stand of the morning, pretty calm, so we know the sound's traveling a long ways. And we'd been sitting there maybe 18, 20 minutes and we'd went through a whole progression trying to call a cat in early on in the stand. And then we rolled into some coon fighting, maybe to see if one of those would roll in.
I decided to just try one more pup fight, and sometimes that happens. They're out there listening to all that other stuff you've already played, and you hit the right one, and it's like a trigger.
And it didn't have a clue we were even there, and it kind of ran down in front of us. And the last second, it kind of saw us, and I just kind of rolled over and used the red dot that I have mounted on a 45-degree angle and got a couple bullets in that coyote. But once again, that coyote had probably been there a long time, listened to a variety of the sounds we'd been playing, and it just took the right sound to really trigger something to get that coyote to come running into the call. So later that morning, we meet up with Derek. He's got some new ground we're gonna go check out. Neither Rick or I had really ever been there, so it's gonna be a new experience. We get into some more big open pastures, not something you typically find out here in eastern Kansas. And the wind's laying down a touch, so we feel that the call, the volume of the roughneck's going to carry out there far enough, and we get to calling, and it's just a few minutes in and we notice a coyote down below us, and yeah, he's going to the left. He's going to hit that bottom and probably leave. He's pegged up here. Here he comes up the bottom. He's leaving.
Yeah, still leaving, huh?
288.
Hey, let's do on 3.
He's got a skyline pegged.
Let's do.
You want to do 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
How much wind are you going to give him?
I'm gonna give it about a foot. What do you think of that?
Yeah. All right. So this is what we'll do. We'll shoot on 1, 2, and we'll shoot on 3. Okay.
Okay.
I got him at 275.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
So Derek, you count down. We'll go 1, 2. We'll shoot on 3. Okay. All right. Here we go. Woo! Okay. Here we go. We gotta be louder. So could you even hear him?
I shot.
Oh, you shot too?
Yeah.
Oh. We must have both shot at the same exact time.
Yeah, I shot.
I thought you didn't. You looked up at me and I was like, I thought, oh, maybe you didn't shoot, but we perfectly shot at the same time.
I heard your gun go off. I mean, I don't know. It was the same time,
Yeah.
but I knew you shot. And then I heard you say, well, you didn't say it loud enough. He didn't hear you.
Yeah, I didn't know if he could hear me.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Was there 2 or what happened the whole time? I didn't know.
Probably just one. He just probably has a sky. There's just not much cover up here, you know.
Geoff didn't even think I shot. I've heard just a millisecond of his gun, so but we whacked it and that was pretty cool. So we do this long walk. I mean, it's a half a mile into this spot, and I knew it was going to be muddy, and I was about half trying to figure out a way to not do it, but we went ahead and I was going to do vocals. I was going to do 100% vocals, and we were just going to see what happens. So I start out with Smoke Howl 1, and it went for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, 3 coyotes. I knew it was 3 coyotes because they howled for quite a little bit, and I mean, when they howl like that, it really gets me gooned up.
We're howling right here. There's some coyotes howling 200-300 yards right to the right of us. They're gonna be right behind us. Pick up and move.
Probably gonna shoot the first one if they come.
Just made a quick move, just in case they try to circle up behind us and get the wind.
You on that left one?
Switch it up. Rick just killed one. I'm still covering the backside. There was at least 2 of them howling in there, maybe more. Exactly why I moved around right there. Exactly, that coyote had slipped around the backside of him. He was trying to get downwind of Rick. Rick's just going through a series of pup distresses and things right now. That's all it takes.
Woo!
Triple, baby. Triple. That was the 3rd coyote of the group. He was leaving. He's up on the hill about 2:30.
What we had there was a group, at least 3, answer Smoke Howl 1. And then I turned on, I think, Pisser Whimpers, and they rolled right in there. And I told Sean I was going to shoot the one on the left. I could only see 2. And then I seen a smaller one show up to the left of that one. So when they're breeding, you want to try to shoot the smaller one. And that's the one I shot. And I believe it's the female, and I'll bet she's in heat because I just kept changing pup fights. And I think Geoff shot the other 2, probably males over here on the other side trying to get our wind. They won't leave that female when she's in heat. And I don't know if that's what happened, but from what I've seen in the past, that is what probably happened. So keep changing the pup fights when they're in groups like that, and they'll keep hanging around.
They came out of this clump of trees over here. I'm excited to know if all 3 of them originally came out. He just had 1 shot, and if they maybe ran back in there, or if only 1 came out initially.
February during breeding it's like highs and lows. For me, I always want to try to call a bobcat, so I'm playing rabbit, I'm playing this, and they just ain't interested in that crap, period. You can call them, you know, here and there off rabbit, but when you get a group like we had there, you lead off with a howl, and when they answer, and I mean, they were 200 yards away. It was so awesome. I mean, I'm shaking. It's what I live for, and so you got to play them vocals and just, I guess, give up on the cats, but I hate to do that. But did you get 2?
Yeah. Triple, baby.
We're the team.
There's one right there.
Yeah, we see it.
Did you see that one before I shot it?
No.
The other one's 250 yards back towards the truck.
Listen to this. We just did a little talking. They all rolled up here, and I shot the smallest one, and that's what I told them. You shoot that female, and they ain't leaving. We'll see if that's what it is. Like I said, boys.
You got the female, she in heat?
Oh yeah, all swelled up.
Nice. So they were just right down in that timber?
Right there.
And then here they just...
That was pretty awesome.
When they started howling, it took, I looked over at Max, it took us a second, we're like, oh my God, that's coyotes down there. So I ran up and ran about 20 yards and got so I could cover in case they circled on you.
That was a good move.
And
that was better than me playing the right sounds.
that's what you want. I mean, they have probably had this female pinned down in it. It's what we've been looking for the last 3 days. This time of year, it's the second week of February, they're breeding. 2 males had a female pinned down in there, and we got right in their bubble, man. 200-300 yards from them.
Yep.
And we got aggressive. We did a coyote-based, what I call a coyote-based stand. You know, we weren't worried about bobcats or anything on this. We went right into coyote vocals and coyote sounds. And
Smoke howl one, lit them up, and pisser, submissive pisser, a little female that was trying to get bred. That's all I played, other than after I shot, and then I just kept.
Well, you did perfect. That's what I was talking about as you're playing that. When it's like that, about every minute or 2 minutes, just keep, when you know there's a bunch of coyotes swarming in there, just keep switching up to different pup fights, coyote fights. You know, when you're hunting coyotes this time of year, that's exactly what you're hoping for. And it may take an all-day hunt to get right in the right position, but this time of year, you're hoping for a group of coyotes, a female in heat with 1, 2, 3 male coyotes that have her pinned down in a little draw, or something like that, and just getting right in on them. Some of the most exciting coyote hunting you'll ever experience. The wind's picking up now. It's blowing 20, 25. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. We get down in a little corner of a pasture that's just chocked full of these cedar trees and tall grass and all kinds of brush. And we get back down in there, and even though it is a cat stand, Rick elects to go for more of a coyote sequence to hopefully get a coyote in quick and fast. And he lets out some howls and is rolling through a series of different coyote sounds. And I'm kind of laid up front with the shotgun, and just kind of out of nowhere, this coyote pops up right behind this brush pile. You on him? You on him? Did you get that? Tight cover, man. That coyote just popped up right here. Gave him a second. He cut across this little opening right here. Stopped right across the call, 40 yards. The Hornady BB laid him out. And I let the Hornady 3-inch BB eat. It was about 30 yards, and it peppered the coyote, dropped him dead in his tracks, and we ended the trip on a great note. 30 yards, Hornady BB. Laid him out, man. He got hit, probably got hit by at least 15 pellet holes in him. There's the Versatite wad right there.
Well, that was a nice little ending to our mid-February Kansas Lucky Duck last stand hunt. I'm glad we got ended on a bang, and it was a good trip. It ended up well.